Razor Ray here. Razor Wrecker, just going by another name. Had many nicknames over the years. None of them stuck, you know. And all of them were self-subscribed, you know, self-titled. Never was given a nickname in life. But this is totally unscripted, and I'm about to go into my afterlife experience, my near-death experience. First time being told on video. I've only told it to a number of friends, closest friends, like a handful of friends. And it took place in 2013. And it took place in a graveyard in Boscawen, New Hampshire. And when I committed suicide. I don't say attempted suicide because I successfully committed suicide. I literally died once by my own hand and then twice when they were trying to revive my body on the way to the hospital. But more about that as we get into it. I had an iPod with me and I was playing, I chose for my exiting music from this world to be what's it called here? Amber Asylum. Very dreary. You're hearing it now, maybe lightly in the background. And I thought this was, you know, the way I was feeling at the time. It was a new album at the time, maybe only a year or two old. I've been suicidal my entire life. Probably since my mid-teens it started developing. But I've been, more accurately, pursued by dark shadows my entire life. And it kind of culminated in 2013 when I finally had enough. But yeah, as a child, I had demonic visitations in my dreams that were far more, you know, real than nightmares. You know, this was something from outside my body. I couldn't even, you know, describe these dreams for years without getting goosebumps and chills, even as an adult. And I could still probably, I don't talk about it much today. Not that I'm not over it, because I'm over it. I don't get those visitations anymore. I got my last one probably, you know, at 27, and that was coming in years apart. And the final one was 27. I don't think it was the same demon either, but there was. But in any case, I suffered, you know, depression, suicidal depression. Came to me first around 1988. I guess when one day I asked my mom as an adult, Mom, why'd you let me quit high school in my freshman year? And she said, well, Ray, you threatened to commit suicide if I didn't take you out of school. You were so miserable. And see, I couldn't even remember that. I couldn't trace back that memory to having said that. I take her word for it because I know how I am and how I've been becoming. But so I became a tattooist in '94, traveled much of the East Coast up and down numerous times, little out west, but a lot of Western Europe, and did most of my moving about throughout the New England states where I felt most at home. Due to its history, its moodiness, you know, the dark ambience of New England that most New Englanders, you know, either take for granted. But it spoke to my soul up there. And but it probably wasn't very good for my soul at the same time. But speaking to you from southern New Jersey now. In any case, not that it's any better here. But in any case, in my travels, you know, for a while there, from about the year 2000, from 98, I sought to get a gun, to own a gun. And it was never to protect myself. It was always to own, just in case I had enough of this life. I couldn't take it anymore, and I could put it to my own head or heart and be done with it. I just wanted it as security, as a quick exit in case, what I felt inside, just got the better of me one day. Or if life got so bad, I didn't want to, that matched with my, already tired soul. I could just shut it all down. And so originally in '98, I bought a gun, a hand pistol. I attempted to, a piercer that I was working with, a skin piercer in the tattoo shop. He said, "Oh, I could get you a gun." I think it was $300, $200, $250. Can't remember. That was 1998. Give him the money. I think back at the state I was in, I don't think I would have wasted a moment. Once it was in my hand, it would have been loaded and in my face, the way I was feeling at the time. So my guardian angels, who have stepped in many times in my life, maybe I could mention that in another story. That's a whole other story, how guardian angels, through divine intervention, miraculously had saved my life in very, very near-death experiences, at least under 5 experiences in my life. So he screwed me over for the money, basically, and long story short, and quit the shop. Must have knew he was quitting the shop and tried to get some money off me because he knew I was looking to buy a gun. And, skipped town with it. But looking back, that was one of my earlier blessings because I certainly would have shot myself at the time had I, purchased the gun through him like that. So I was happy to lose the money now, looking back. The second time after that was 1999, only a year later. I moved to upstate New York, Woodstock, New York, a hippie town, No place for a, gothy metalhead like me to be, but there I was. And, just trying to explore a new region, as I had done many a times. And up there, I went to purchase a shotgun, make a certain mess of things, with my head, with that thing, I thought. No question about it. The head's coming off, I thought, with the shotgun. So I got the shotgun. Oh, I'm skipping a step. Oh, no, I'm not. So it's 99, and I went to purchase a shotgun up there, and because the job wasn't working out, and I felt alone up there and isolated in the severe winters up there, and I went to get a gun. They said my out-of-state license, I would need to purchase get my license registered up there for me to buy a gun up there. So, that was a new to me at the time. I was only 29. I wouldn't have known that just yet, I guess. And that was good too, because if I got that shotgun, that was going right to my head. And and I didn't want to re-register because I wasn't happy with the job there, and I knew I was going to move if I lived long enough to move. So I did just that. I moved, and I moved back to Connecticut, and I went to New Haven at the Edge Tattoo, and worked with a very good crew there. And but still, one of the guys, I still have my suicidal feelings, but not enough. I was kind of happy. I just wanted to have the gun just in case I was back at that stage. I wouldn't have used it on myself right away because I was kind of enjoying life well enough at that time. But I still knew if I ever got back in that state, I don't want to live it. It's like, I don't know how people suffer migraine headaches. I would, I'd kill myself over that. Through a tattooist there, I won't name names, I purchased a police-issued shotgun. It was like a purposely designed as a sawed-off shotgun. It was only about yo long. Flat black. I love that thing. I bought a nice shotgun sock for it and whatnot. I was like, oh, this thing's sturdy and whatnot. And I kept it for years. I met a girl not long after. We had a volatile relationship. Twice in our relationship, she had the gun, taken from me by police. And a couple fallouts me and her had. And, the first time she was afraid I was going to use it on myself. The second time she thought I was going to use it on me. That's the excuse, or on her. That's the excuse she used to the cops. They took me in for an overnight stay, kept my gun. In both cases, I retrieved my gun because they were keeping it unlawfully. And, there was no real proof in what she was saying. It was just her word. And even though she was right. And so I got that gun back. But how did I lose it? Oh, I lost it later on. And right around the time when I would finally, shoot myself. I got another gun in 2007 when I owned a tattoo shop in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I got a handgun. I got it right from a dealer. And I saw he was wearing it on the side. I said, oh, that's a good gun. The dealer's wearing this gun. It's got to be a good gun. If he's owning it, I want what he's, using for himself. But it was a .32 caliber, and I got in New Hampshire you could conceal, and I got my permit there in Concord, New Hampshire, and I could conceal and own that gun. And I wasn't in a particularly suicidal state, but at the time, so I owned it for years, and I owned that along with the flat black police-issued shotgun. And I said, what do? I take one to both heads. Take one. I'm going to go one way or the other. And but I'm going to hang on to it until that day comes again, if it ever does. And it did. But times got real bad. I made a mistake in life. I could go into that in another video. It's a whole other story. But it came back to bite me in the ass and haunt me. And it threatened to ruin my whole life. And it did. And before it destroyed my whole life, I wanted to leave this world on a high note. And, while I had my house, I had my wife and my stepdaughter and my business, all, successful, but I didn't have God in my heart yet. And I was a very godless being. I was a couple albums into doing music, suicidal, depressive music, black metal music that caused deaths in my band, hauntings, demonic hauntings in my band. A couple of my band members, people that tried out for my band, died soon after. During recordings of our albums, we were haunted at home. We go into the studio, talk about our hauntings, just nightmarish stuff going on around that music. This is before I was saved. I've been saved by Jesus over 3 years now. And, I came into Christ and born again, been baptized over a year ago, and still suffer suicidal, depressive feelings. God hasn't taken that away from me, but I have the Holy Spirit in me now, and He does assist me, or she, whatever Holy Spirit. I don't try to give it a sex, But at least I know with Jesus in my life that if I should commit suicide or die anytime by natural causes or otherwise, I got heaven to go to. During my near-death experience, it was what you call a hellish near NDE, and at that time, I was without God, and I was probably on my way to a darker realm. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I believe there's in-betweens, and a lot of what I believe was given to me as knowledge from the other side. A lot of this I didn't know until I crossed over through my near-death experience, and I was gifted with a lot of knowledge, and a lot of it I retained, some of it left. I also developed psychic skills that remained with me for maybe 3 to 5 years. Yeah, maybe 7 years after, 6, whatever. What is it, 2013? It's 2020 now, do the math. I lost those psychic skills about 2 years ago. So they just faded. I didn't work on developing them. They just happened to be there. It was a residual effect of having crossed over and been in spirit form, almost fully detached from my body, and then coming back and bringing some of that, spiritual, enlightenment with me. Some of it remains, but the psychic ability I had has faded. And that was to feel the presence of dead people and know what they're trying to express to me. More of that in a moment. So I got in trouble with the police in 2012, and they investigated me from 2012 to 2013, finally arrested me. I bailed out. It was right before my planned wedding around Halloween with my wife of 8 years at that time. Oh, no, 6 years, and we'd stay together 2 more after my suicide attempt. And so right after the wedding, I decided I'll give her a wedding, and then I'll go before I go to jail, because I had a case where I could have fought what they were claiming I did, which I did, what I did. But I could have fought it, but I didn't have the money to fight for the lawyer. Lawyer would have been a major lawyer. And so we had the wedding, an outdoor wedding at my now ex-wife's sister's house, beautiful in New Hampshire. I forget the name of the town now. And it wasn't long after, I think it was less than 2 weeks later, I would commit the suicide. Now, the police had confiscated my guns, both guns, the shotgun and the .32 caliber. And my brother-in-law, I think that's who it is, my wife's sister's husband. And mind you, I have brain damage, so give me that if I have problems with my memory. He volunteered to hold my guns, and he hid them in his garage. And he was a weird dude. He just finally recently separated from my ex-wife's sister, and leaving her with nothing. Real nice guy. And she's doing all right on her own, though. God bless her. And strong woman. In any case, he hid him in his garage. I didn't know he hid him in his garage, but that was the only place I had access to. So while a visit not long after our wedding, we were visiting her house, and I went rummaging around his garage while he was out at work. Sure enough, I came upon the handgun. I didn't find my shotgun. I was looking for my shotgun, and surely, why didn't he hide them both in the same place? That's because the angels knew, my guardian angels knew, that if I got a hold of that shotgun, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about it, because a shotgun's much more definite death than a handgun, the way I would have used it. And so I got the handgun, I smuggled it out of there, and I hid it in my basement in, what part of New Hampshire? I'm forgetting all the towns where I was living at the time, just south of Concord. And I kind of mentally prepped for the day I would shoot myself. And I remember buying books and leaving, odd signs on Facebook, not telling people exactly. But the day I decided to shoot myself, I was heading to work. It was a rainy day, of course. November 7th. It was my birthday. I wanted to go on my birthday. I remember Glenn Benton, the singer of Deicide, said he was going to kill himself on his birthday. A Satanist, this guy. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I got more balls than you, dude. I am going to kill myself on my birthday. He didn't have the guts. On a certain birthday that he was going to kill himself. Well, I was 43 at the time, and I got the gun out of a hiding space in the basement. I hugged my wife. Lachlan, the child, was way. Sorry, I named her, but I got her last name, and I kissed my pug, my little black pug. And I couldn't help but kiss him goodbye, like this is the last time I'm going to see him. And they knew, my ex-wife knew there was something up, but she had her own mental problems, I believe now, and she didn't know how to handle mine, and I don't blame her, but whatever. And so I instead of driving south to Nashua, New Hampshire from where I was, I drove northwest, is it, to Boscawen, and I decided that's the graveyard I wanted to kill myself in. I'm a taphophile. I love graveyards, always have, and I wanted to die in one. Because I always felt like I'm probably never going to get buried in one. I'll never get a grave or whatever. I'll probably just be cremated or whatever. Never really cared what would happen to my body. I always said you could drag my naked body in the streets and leave it in a gutter for all I care what you do with my body once I'm free of it. But I do romanticize about, Victorian graveyards and whatnot. But I don't see that happening for me. So anyway, I just wanted to die among the dead that have always, given me such peace. So I walk to the back. I get to the graveyard. It's almost like driving to my own death. It was so weird. I was listening to, what's his name? Paul Newman. Is it Paul Newman? The goth guy. The Cars. In Cars, that guy, his later material was new in 2013. He got very depressing and still industrial and stuff, kind of more like Nine Inch Nails in later years. But who he inspired, I'm sure. And so I'm listening to him on the way to my death. And I get into the graveyard. I drive all the way to the back. Get to one of those famous New England stone walls, step over that just into the woods beyond the graveyard, sit down against a boulder, and put my iPod in, and I'm listening to this band. Very morose. Terribly sad music. I remember my ex-wife, asking to please turn this off. She could stand listening to my black metal over how sad this is. But I was sad. I wanted music that spoke to my soul and to leave on. And I put this on the iPod, and I sat there a while. I think I got into about the second or third song. And cut out somewhere in between the song. Now, I decided that somewhere, in prepping to shoot myself with a gun in hand, that I had a prayer to God. I grew up Catholic, baptized as a baby Catholic, but, I was turned away from the church from all its fundamentalism. And, for most of my life still. And, but, I still believed in a God. I was always agnostic. I've had plenty of proof in the spirit world. Oh, and by the way, back in 1991 through 93, I was practicing outer body meditation through Carlos Castaneda and his books. And I'd mastered his skills, apparently, quicker than he did through his guru. And I was living with a girl for 4 years, Roberta Serrano. Sorry, but I don't know where the hell she is, and there's plenty of Roberta Serranos out there. And last I heard, she's in Florida with a family. God bless her. And I remember the first time I woke up, and this is relevant. I woke up from, my first having purposely leaving my body through meditation. And I listened to Country Joe and the Fish, some meditative music that they had made without lyrics, and I'd use that to cross over. And I woke up, I came back in the body. I was so damn excited. I was like, honey, I was so excited. And I actually, later on helped her to cross and leave her body. She was so shocked that she was like, what the fuck was that? Holy Mongolis. And she didn't want to do it again. And I managed to do that for one more girl years later in Connecticut, in my bedroom there, and freaked her out because I would lull them into a meditative state rather than myself. And by that time, I couldn't even do it for myself, but I helped other people to do it, in 2 occasions only. But there was a couple times I left my body, and I could tell you all about it. I traveled like lying down, like I wasn't lying down in bed, but I lifted out of my body and I started going down a tunnel, lights moving along, and then I came into a space where I was floating slowly above human heads. I could see the heads below me, and they were all like at a concert, but not just standing there head to head and barely seeing shoulders. I just knew I was floating over a sea of spirits and doing nothing, and they were dark. And I remember how it felt leaving my body, almost the same way it feels when you're leaving through death, But at that time, there was a major whir sound, like a machine starting up, and that was in the early 90s, so forgive if I forget much of what that was like. I recall much better how my near-death experience through my purposeful suicide attempt was like. So going back to that, I just wanted to let you know that I had left the body previously, and that's partly why I'm agnostic, because I've had ghostly experiences all my life through the demons in my dreams and through visiting haunted locations all my life, and even living in haunted historical homes or at least old homes throughout New England and other places in Europe. I've had plenty of paranormal experiences. I know I'll have more, but so anyway, back at the graveyard where I'm about to kill myself. Let me lower this. I'm afraid this might be too loud. So I have one final call to God. I says, I already knew I had spirit guides because they had saved me from other close calls, very close to death. Amazing stories within themselves. But I don't want to get into too much. Maybe I can get back to that if it's not too much time explaining my near-death experience. But I said to God, look, God, if I'm not meant to die right now, I'm going to let you aim the gun for me. Yes, it's in my hand, but I'm going to swing it towards my head and then just pull the trigger. But I'm asking you to take hold of my hand and let it, land. Let the bullet go through my head wherever it will, that I'll survive it. So I'm giving you an option to save me, like you've done so many times in the past. And, because if it goes through your head in certain ways, you could survive it, But literally, I was told from a war veteran, that if you want to make sure you're dead by gunshot, if you're captured by the enemy or whatever, this was at a party in Concord, he's telling me this over some beers. He says, he doesn't know I'm suicidal, so he's telling me this. He later regretted it. But shoot yourself right in the temple, behind the ear. Guaranteed you'll die. Well, that's where the crater is behind my ear. You can feel it. You can't so much see it through the hair. But good-sized little crater I got going on there. A moon crater, I call it. But, and there's, anyway. I was like, okay, that's a definite way to do it. Because you always see in movies people shoot themselves here or like that. I just snapped my jaw. And I didn't want to do that. I think that's, I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to bust my teeth. I wanted to die pretty, Because I'm such a beautiful person, good-looking person, as you see. 50 years old now. I'm still holding together here, kid. But bit of a kook, if you might have imagined by now. But I am an artist, so we're eccentric types. We're the eclectic types. and I got a bullet fucking bouncing around in my head. So God knows, I'm a piece of work on all levels here. But in any case, so God did just that. I worked up the fucking nerve, and I'm telling you, it took some fucking nerve. There was a minute there I'm like, can I do this? This is fucking crazy. I'm about to fucking put a bullet in my own head. Just try it. Just put your own hand to your head in the shape of a gun like that, and imagine yourself, having the guts to do that. And they say, oh, only that's a pussy's way out, suicide. That's such a cowardly way out, suicide. Yeah, facing death, inviting the Reaper to rip you out of life is not a coward's way out. Maybe if you're facing death by another man's hand or something on the battlefield, but I had all my life ahead of me. Maybe spending a good portion of it in jail, because I was facing 10 to 30 years if it went really bad for me, the court trial. But because I shot myself, I got out on, I should mention this. I'll get back to, what God did for me. But I got out on a plea agreement with the court, and I only had to serve 8 months in jail, which is a county year in Boscawen, New Hampshire. So maybe I didn't shoot myself in Boscawen. Maybe that's where the jailhouse was. Remember, I got brain damage. What the hell's the name of the town? I'll write it in the description below. Anyways, Goffstown. Goffstown? No, that's another town in New Hampshire. But I'll get back to it. So anyways, yeah, so it's not a cowardly thing to kill yourself, even by hanging or whatever. It takes a lot of freaking guts, I'll tell you what. And I'm not afraid of death whatsoever. I guess I wasn't then, but I'm even less afraid of death today. Pain of death, still the idea, that sucks. Part of all my prayers is, God, when it's time to go, make it painless. I've already been through the painful part once. So anyway, getting back to it. So I do just that. I hold the gun way the hell out away from me in the trees, and then I just swing that motherfucker. And then midway, sorry for the cursing, but be an adult here. It's a word that doesn't mean anything. Get over yourself. I swing the thing, and God grabs my arm. And I felt ghosts grab me before. It's an electric feeling minus the pain. I felt it once in a graveyard when I was reaching into a tomb that the ghost didn't want me reaching into. And, it gave me this shocking feeling. I dragged my arm back out, and it shouldn't have been in there, and they didn't want my hand in there. And, but that's a whole nother story.